Hey, I'm Shyfoxx, and today we will be drawing Snorlax. I'm going to take you through this tutorial step by step so you can follow along and draw this too. We are going to start off with two circles, one larger one for Snorlax's body, and then a second one a little smaller for his head. So let's place the first circle sort of in the middle of the page, just slightly below the middle, our large circle for his body. Now we can make this circle slightly wider on the width, because Snorlax is rather large. So just a little wider on the outside, but round in general. And just lightly go around a few times to get the feel of the shape you're trying to draw. Much easier to do circles that way rather than one attempt. We just kind of go around and find our way. We're going to do the same thing with the head of the Snorlax. Now, the bigger we make the head, the more chibi-like this is going to feel, the more like kind of cute version. But if you want a more true to the actual Snorlax design, do a smaller head. I'm going to do sort of somewhere in between and do a head about that size. I'm actually going to do it slightly bigger. These are just guidelines, so it's very easy to go back in and erase. So I'm just erasing the lines I didn't want to keep. Having good paper and good drawing materials really helps with a lot of things like smudging. And I think this size looks good. So I'm also going to erase this connection here where these two circles are meeting. So we have a shape that's kind of like a big 8. And what we need to do now is draw a line down the center vertically like that. This is a guideline for us. And then we would like to do our Snorlax in sections here so that we can break him up. So we have a circle here. Imagine splitting that circle in half and kind of round it, because Snorlax's body is facing upwards. And we're going to do the same thing in this circle, an upward sort of rounded shape there. All right. Let's start with his ear shapes. They're rather cat-like, but somewhat rounded as well. Slightly move down the circle from the center and draw the ears. Notice the roundness to it. I might even make mine a little bit rounder. And do the other side. Now the trick with this whole art piece is definitely symmetry. We would like it to feel roughly the same on both sides. So try and use the guidelines we put in to make it as symmetrical as possible. So I'm thinking that would be starting here and ending here. So being a little bit thoughtful will definitely help. And with that symmetry, our shapes need to be roughly the same size. When we draw, we really break down our drawings into basic shapes. So every step of the way is just shapes, and those shapes in proportion and placement to the other shapes. Doesn't have to be complex when we break it down. Okay, and we can erase the attachment of the ear onto the head. Get rid of those lines. Great. Let's do the inside line of his face. And what that is it's just part of his pattern. So what that means is we're going to draw pretty close in. This is kind of the trick with this part. Pretty close into his face. We're gonna reach about there. I'm just putting in guides for approximately where we would like things to go near, I guess, instead of being too close in on the face. Doing this part too close in the middle of the face will make it look kind of weird. So we got to go kind of wide with it. And we'll go around. So just following the head shape overall. And then you can just stop here and leave this open. And one thing Snorlax does have is a little sort of rounded triangle in the middle of his forehead that connects. So we're going to add that in. Rounded triangle. And I'm going to erase that little part of the top of the circle and darken the top of his actual head here. Double check if this is looking symmetrical. Is that middle sort of triangle coming down symmetrical on either side? If not, you're going to want to fix it. It might end up looking a little weird if you don't. And I'm even fixing up this side compared to this side. And I'd like them to be more similar to each other. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect. We can do all the perfecting we want as a final step, but definitely ideal to just rough in some of our shapes. Now I'm looking at my piece here and I'm thinking it would look good if we widened just slightly on either side of his head, just really slight. So that would show up better if we just erase the inside. So that circle is getting a slightly different shape to it now. His head no longer really feels like a circle. Now we also need to add in our inside of the body, but we should probably first really define the outside shape of the body. So he does go quite wide. He's quite fat, and we love him that way. We're gonna just sort of sketch. Let him get, ultimately he's the widest where this axis meets the body line. And hopefully you've done it sort of symmetrically. Mine isn't even perfectly symmetrical. So you kind of angle it going around, gets to its widest point, and then comes around. And even gets a little bit flattened off at the bottom. So to help ourselves out, we should go back and erase things like that part of the circle there. And this side. Looking symmetrical, pretty close. Again, doesn't need to be perfect. We'll do all the perfecting we want at a later point. Guide these shapes in. Okay, not too bad. Let's connect Snorlax's belly. So we can follow again the shape of his body, and we're gonna come in a little higher. So find the middle, roughly the middle of, we got this quadrant that we've broken up. We want this line to stop just below the middle here, and it's gonna go up slightly and back down slightly. Checking on that symmetry. Rounded, rounded, up. Good. And let's add in his feet. Make them fairly big. And they have to be, they look way better if they're just sort of wider. If you do them like here, it's gonna look strange. Further out on the side. Fairly big. And aim to make them symmetrical, size-wise, and positioning. Really paying attention to that. It's gonna make your drawing look so much better. And I'm gonna erase the inside. He's got pads on the bottom of his feet. You could do these as round circles if you wanted, but I'm giving them that bean shape as I often describe this. So add that bean shape or circle to the lower portion of his feet. It's pretty well just that lower half. If you were to divide this in half, you'd see that would be in the lower half. So one on either side, angling. And we're gonna do little triangles basically for the little nails. He's got 3. So we're gonna do 1, 2, 3. And we can make those cone shaped by rounding the bottoms of each of the nails. I don't want mine too spiky, so I'm going to make sure these are kind of rounded triangles again. Same thing on this side. Do the triangles first. 1, 2, 3. I sense that I have failed to do something symmetrically, so I'm going to fix up my triangles. I think the nails here would be a little more forgiving, but I'm going to try again. That's the beauty of the eraser. So I'm going to do one here. I see that this nail was inside this part of the body, so that is a good guideline for me to position for making it symmetrical. This one seems to be positioned right outside. Yours doesn't have to exactly be that way. This is a part where you can kind of position them where it feels right. Okay. And some tiny erasing inside the nails. I'm just going to go over the nail shapes again so that they are clear. Good, the feet are done. We are making great progress. Let's add in his facial features at this point. So we do have this middle axis that's kind of in the center of the face, and we are going to add the eyes that are just little slivers here, like that, just below that line, and make them long and skinny like this. You may want to hold off shading it in until you feel like the positioning is okay, but they're slightly curved upward, kind of gives them a happy look. So let's do the one on the other side. They should be fairly far apart. Ooh, I can see the way I'm drawing that. It's already too low, not symmetrical. Does that look symmetrical? I think so. Let's color it in and find out. I guess color's the wrong word. Shade it in. Shade it in. Okay, and if it's not perfect, we'll come back and fix that later. And the little smile, that's going to go about here. So do a little curve, really simple curve. And we're going to add little teeth on either side. Little triangles for his teeth. And I'm looking at mine and I'm thinking, this is one of those times where I'm pretty confident I don't like the positioning of that, so I'm going to go just a little bit lower. Suppose I could have decided that before adding the teeth in, but that is okay. Yeah, that looks far better to me. Now we're going to give him some cheeks, just a little extra cuteness. And these are just ovals, and they go just under the eye. Really long shaped ovals. Just under the eye. There we go. Do those rather lightly. Okay, let's give him some arms. He's lacking arms. We'll do the easier of the two arms first. Since we're going to give him a wave on one side, we'll have the other arm down by his side. So starting just slightly down from where the head connects to the body, about here, we're going to draw a little bump out like that. That's going to be the one arm, and in this case we're going to give him some nails. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to give him 4. If you'd rather give him 3, give him 3. And we're going to erase where these connect but only erase halfway. And what I mean by that is we're leaving this line to about halfway here and then erasing that section. I'm gonna fix this, put that back in. That looks pretty good. And let's put in the other arm. So again, starting at about the same point, partway down there, and we're gonna do the arm up into the air, not too long, and coming back down. So we're roughly meeting where that halfway up the head mark is. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4 nails, like he's waving. At this point, we're gonna go back and erase all the guidelines we put in because we no longer need them. All right, now that we've pretty much done that, we're gonna add a border around the whole edge of Snorlax. And this is kind of the stage where if we see anything that needs fixing, now is a really good time to do it. And the reason I do this border, by the way, is just to make the artwork pop out a little bit. Depending on what your final stages of your artwork is gonna be, maybe you're gonna color it, you may or may not want to do this step. It would be a good idea potentially to take a felt marker, go over all your lines. Drawing with pencil first is really helpful because then you can decide, fix, erase, right? Decide if things look good. But you can go over the whole thing with a felt pencil if you want to give it that more cartoon feel, I guess. Not so paper sketchy looking. And then you can erase your pencil markings after the ink is dry if you want to do that look instead. Using a fatter edged, as I'm describing it, pencil is good for doing this border. So if you have different kinds of pencils, getting a fatter tipped pencil will be really helpful. And I would only do this step when you're confident you like where things are. And then I often go back in and define certain lines on the inside of our image that could use it. Making those eyes dark is a good idea to get them to pop. Cute little detail you could add would be a little drool right here because, you know, Snorlax likes to sleep and sometimes drool. I'm not going to add it this time. Darken this eye. And we are pretty much done. You can go ahead and clean up any edges or things that need erasing to get yours, you know, ideal the way you want it. I'm going to quickly do that now. I also do tutorials on digital art, so if you're interested in learning about that, you can check out other videos on my channel. And I also have lots of other draw-alongs of Pokemon and other characters coming soon that you can check out on my channel as well, so subscribe if that interests you. I have a new question of the day every day, so you can check the pinned message on this video if you want to take part in that. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.